Hello, my name is Lori Ross, and today I will be presenting to you academic redshirting, the pros, cons, and lasting effects. Again, my name is Lori Ross, and the title of my class is Reading and Research in Early Childhood Education, FCSC 4930, Fall 2016. Let's get started. So here you'll see I have a table of contents, and to the left you'll see I have the title of the slides, and to the right you'll see the corresponding page numbers. And if you click here, you'll be taken to where you want to be taken, wherever you click on. Let me see. First here. Research interest. So why did I choose this topic interest me? It was interesting to me, the process of academic redshirting. I actually didn't know about it until I just researched it. I didn't even know what an academic redshirt was or anything of that sort, but I had heard rumors of it and I didn't know that it existed. And it did. So I just decided to research it, and upon confirmation, I was extremely curious about the effects and the different controversial opinions that everyone else had on it. What I hoped to learn about this topic was just the sociology of academic redshirting. I just wanted to know the reason it was implemented, and I wanted to know just how it was affecting everyone, the parents, professionals, the teachers, the redshirted child. I just wanted to know everything that went into it and the overall efficiency of this practice. Introduction. The term redshirting is a term used to explain the withholding of someone due to lack of development of some sort or ability. So redshirting was an athletic term, and it derived from the 1950s, around there, and is linked to an athlete and their performance. So a high school or college athlete will be kept out of varsity competition for 1 year to develop skills and extend eligibility. This is a process that's practiced today in today's society. This hot topic in education has sparked major debate and has taken criticism from many in regards to its efficiency. And today I'll be discussing with you the benefits, pitfalls, and the lasting effects of it that overall contributes to the educational well-being of the child. Advantages of academic redshirting. Children achieve academically in math and reading either at par with or above their classroom peers. So, research shows that on average, 9% of kindergartners are redshirted or held back every year. I thought that was amazing. I didn't know that percentage number. So, students who are redshirted, they will have that advantage of staying an extra year if they have any troubles with reading or math from the previous year. Teachers can spend more one-on-one time with them, and they'll have the comfortability and will have already adjusted to the environment. So it'll be more easier for them to learn it since they're more comfortable with where they are and they're more familiar with who's teaching them. An analysis of data from the Early Childhood Longitude Study regarding children's achievement in reading, they found that redshirted children showed slightly higher reading knowledge skills when tested at the end of the first grade year than children who started kindergarten on time. These children are less likely to be singled out for correction as well in classroom conduct. So the students who have been redshirting are less likely to be singled out. Many agree that being old for the grade because of redshirting is nothing like being retained. As mentioned before, the student who is redshirted will most likely be more acclimated into the classroom, the roles, and his or her teachers. Since girls perform or mature much faster, the boys are typically more likely to be misplaced into a special education classroom, though it doesn't correlate with the knowledge of the student, just behavior. Have increased social confidence and popularity. Though this may seem as if it isn't enough for discussion, this aspect plays a major role in the social emotional development. If a child, for instance, has social adjustment issues in the first year, then when the child is redshirted, it will give them more of an opportunity to become more socially confident in their environment the second time. Also, since test scores are higher among those who are redshirted, then the success of doing well will do wonders for the student's self-esteem. Redshirting gives the student a little bit extra time to build social skills. So a student who was previously maybe shy, then the second time around, they'll be more acclimated into the classroom. They'll have they'll have much more of a better experience, according to studies. A confident child is a happy child, so is a child with a lot of friends. Social skills are just as important as academic skills when it comes to the student success in school. Disadvantages of academic redshirting. Difficulty in making and maintaining friendships with younger classmates, especially during the adolescent years. So, the National Association of Early Childhood Specialists and the National Association for the Education of Young Children, they fiercely oppose this. They said that redshirting labels children as failures at the outset of their school experience. So, some studies that have evaluated how well redshirted kids fare compared to their school on-time peers, they concluded that redshirting provides no long-term academic or social advantages, and this can even put the children at risk, at a disadvantage, basically. Despite previous findings, there have been major points addressed for redshirted children, and they report having difficulty making and maintaining friendships with younger classmates, especially during adolescent years. Developmentally speaking, the child who has been redshirted, they already experienced and accomplished some milestones that his or her peers haven't yet. This could leave the child feeling singled out during certain situations, either academically or physically. Let's just take playtime, for example. Losing an extra year of special education services upon the end of year. This is a big one, because when they're withheld from the public school setting, then they often don't have time to be appropriately evaluated to see if they need any sort of special services under IDEA. Typically, it has been argued that when the redshirted child is held back from the upper level school setting, then they do not have the chance for special education if needed under IDEA, for example. Dr. Lori Day, an educational psychologist and the author of Her Next Chapter, she said that perhaps the most concerning aspect of redshirting, at least in my experience, is that in retrospect, it's often done disproportionately to children with undiagnosed special needs, who at the time were judged to be developmentally behind, but in fact were in need of special education services, not another year to mature. Children with learning disabilities who are redshirted or retained in kindergarten, they lose any accrued benefit very quickly, and they are then simply older children with special needs that still must be addressed. Academic redshirting is often higher among lower SES families. I didn't know that upon further research at all, but it's true. So studies have shown that lower SES students do not reap the benefits of academic redshirting. When a comparative study was done between families with upper SES populations by Dr. Suzanne Jones and her study of academic redshirting in adolescent males. By redshirting, students, then parents have to bear the expense of an extra year of child care that most lower SES families, they often don't have. This can be especially difficult if the parent is not able to work, since they are home with their children, and a delay in the workforce would directly affect their income. The lasting effects of academic redshirting. So some older studies related to redshirting suggested that redshirted children were more likely to achieve at a comparable rate. The long-term effects of academic redshirting, though, of young children have been shown to have varying results. Some older studies related to redshirting suggested that they achieve at a comparable rate to their peers who entered on time. On a life satisfaction scale, redshirting students showed significantly higher levels of life satisfaction than those who had not been redshirted. Students who are older than their peers in their grades score higher on achievement tests, and they're less likely to be diagnosed with those learning disabilities. So, redshirted children, they do have the opportunity to curb certain behaviors and become more familiar with procedures in the classroom with their peers, and they're less likely to act out when they go to kindergarten, because they basically have been retaught on classroom rules and procedures. Even with this outcome, though, those children who are redshirted face a delay in their skills because of delay in the future workforce. So being a delay, they have already been delayed in their kindergarten preschool years. That means that when they graduate high school, they would have been graduating a year later, if that makes sense. And that will delay them in the workforce. Redshirted children showed slightly higher reading knowledge and skills when tested at the end of the first grade year. So let's just say, for instance, a child who had previous issues with their alphabet, who goes to kindergarten with some sort of familiarity with reading, versus a redshirted child who has the same circumstance, though they have that extra year of preschool, has that second chance to learn to read. The curriculum is growing and is fastly advancing to a first grade curriculum, so this extra year could prepare the child instead of just streamlining the children to kindergarten. They just don't have that risk of the child not comprehending. Also, with this extra year of preschool, the children begin the new kindergarten year with the upper hand of athletics, and they're often more mature and developed than the peers who weren't redshirted. My conclusion. Overall, throughout the history of academic redshirting, it has shown to have substantial pros, cons, and lasting effects on the educational well-being. And despite differences in debates that have been discussed, academic redshirting is currently being practiced, and it will continue to be one of the most popular educational disputes and its efficiency in early childhood education, according to Dr. Day, who quoted as being contradictory and inclusive. Assessment evaluation. So the research findings that I found, it was sufficient to the responses to the research question, and what I learned was it did answer my question of interest. My question of interest was basically what is academic research redshirting, and it did more than answer my question. I learned a lot about the sociology of those who were affected and involved. I learned a great deal about the benefits, those disadvantages, and what I did learn, expected to learn as far as the efficiency of the practice, I discovered did surprise me. And what surprised me was the benefits. That number was, I didn't expect it to be that so much more benefits than disadvantages. That surprised me. And also the average of kindergartners who were redshirted. I just thought it would be a lot larger than 9%. So what further research would I like to see done? I would like to see someone actually take that extra step and track a redshirted child all throughout the years of maybe high school or maybe beyond. I want to see that child's, maybe some of the things that they faced during their high school years, some trials and tribulations that they faced, being the oldest in their class, maybe the tallest. I want to see what the other challenges they face. How can this research be applied in the early childhood education classroom? So to be an effective teacher, one must utilize such findings and practice them in their classroom. For instance, that teacher that mixes up the ability and maturity aspect from redshirted children, they ought to read that. They ought to see this and try to be better and not do that even if they have done it, or even if they haven't done it. They should read this and try to learn from it and just stay abreast upon early childhood education research. They should always just do their research and just stay abreast on the statistics, the numbers, the findings that researchers have been conducting for a very long time. And here are a list of my references. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my presentation so much. I enjoyed this so much, this topic, and I had so much fun researching it. This PowerPoint was a joy to create, and I hope it was a joy for you guys to watch. Thank you so much.